Falkirk Wheel is a rotating boat lift connecting the Forth and Clyde Canal with the Union Canal. It opened in 2002, reconnecting the two canals for the first time since the 1930s as part of the Millennium Link project. The plan to regenerate central Scotland's canals and reconnect Glasgow with Edinburgh was led by British Waterways. The wheel raises boats by 79 feet, but the Union Canal is still 36 feet higher than the aqueduct which meets the wheel. Boats must also pass through a pair of locks between the top of the wheel and the Union Canal. The Falkirk Wheel is the only rotating boat lift of its kind in the world. The two canals served by the wheel were previously connected by a series of 11 locks. With a 115-foot difference in height, it required 3,900 short tons of water per run and took most of a day to pass through the flight. By the 1930s, these had fallen into disuse, and the locks were dismantled in 1933. The Forth and Clyde Canal closed at the end of 1962, and by the end of the mid-1970s, the Union Canal was filled in at both ends, rendered impassable by culverts in two places, and run in pipes under a housing estate.
All the way obviously right down to the basin. Now this here, the Beefeater, this was the original Rosebank distillery of Rosebank single malt whisky. Distilled there, and that building to your left was where they kept the barrels. It's now a Beefeater restaurant.
Romans came and built the Antonine Wall to keep the Picts out. Christian missionaries arrived, built a church, and invited the Picts in. They called it Eggless Breath, which means speckled church. In early English, speckled was fall and church was kirk. Falkirk. Falkirk turned into a town, with a posh house, a steeple and a market. There's an old saying that goes, Lithgow for Wells, Glasgow for bells, Falkirk for beans and peas. Doesn't rhyme, does it? I think what they were trying to say was that Falkirk had good rich soil thanks to all that time as a marshy lagoon. But peas and beans were never going to make anyone's fortune. And we all know the Scots are famous for being canny, so the people came up with ways to farm better, draining the land, improving machinery, and turning lots of tiny farms into a few big ones. And they held huge cattle markets, trysts, with thousands of beasts from all over Scotland coming here to be sold. I don't think they were sold as pets though, if you get my drift. Next, the locals turned their hand to industry, which was a totally new thing, not just round here, but on the entire planet. The Carron Company and Ironworks opened for business in 1759. They used water from the river, iron ore and coal from the ground. It was a huge success. They made cannons for Nelson's navy, ploughs for farmers, and the engine for the world's first steamship. After that, the Industrial Revolution really got going. Thousands of men dug a canal to link the Forth to the Clyde. A brand new port in town was built at Grangemouth on land from the nearby Firth of Forth, and more factories and foundries set up nearby. There was a canal to Edinburgh, a railway to Glasgow. It was the Silicon Valley of its day, and all powered by sweat, steam, and huge horses. Falkirk and the landscape around it had really changed. A transformation as big and as remarkable as the molten rocks, swamps, and ice at the start of this story. Of course, some transformations can also be a bit sad. In the 20th century, although the area was booming with industry, the opening of railways and roads meant the canals closed and the lovely huge horses disappeared. No one needed them anymore. But then something truly magical happened. People realised what they had lost and worked hard to bring it back to life. The canals were restored, the Falkirk wheel, the world's first rotating boat lift, was built, and the Kelpies, two really, really huge horses, appeared in the landscape. So you see, Falkirk has always been a bit of a shapeshifter. Turn your back on it for 5 minutes, and it sprouted something new, something unexpected, and sometimes just a wee bit magical.
The Old Marketplace. This widened area of the High Street is the Old Marketplace of Falkirk. The site of the Mercat Cross is marked in the cobbles, and it was here that the twice weekly markets and 4 annual fairs were held. Public proclamations were read and public executions carried out here, with the last public hanging taking place in 1828. Lesser forms of punishment, such as branding or flogging, took place. The cross well also stands in the marketplace. The cylindrical structure topped by a lion with a shield dates from 1817, replacing the original well and water supply which was gifted to the town in 1681. Following its demolition by a lorry in 1988, it was repaired and re-erected in its more secure location in 2000. The present steeple is the third toll booth or townhouse to occupy this site. The first was built in the late 16th or early 17th century, but by 1697 it had become dangerous and was demolished. The replacement survived until 1803, when damage to its foundations caused serious subsidence, leading to its demolition. This steeple was completed in 1814 at a cost of £1,460. The steeple stands over 140 feet high and is 22 feet square at ground level. The top 40 feet had to be replaced after it was struck by lightning in June 1927. Falling masonry killed a horse and injured the driver. The steeple housed the town jail and still contains 2 cells on the upper levels. Tolbooth Street behind the steeple is said to be Britain's shortest street. Its length is 58 feet. Steeple timeline. Late 16th, early 17th century. First steeple is built, but in a different location from this steeple. 1697. First steeple demolished as it is in bad repair. 1697. Second steeple built, new bell gifted for steeple. 1746. A group of townspeople watched the Second Battle of Falkirk from steeple. 1803. Steeple demolished as foundations damaged. 1814. Third steeple completed. 1850. New bell hung in steeple with inscription, "May Falkirk flourish." Celebrated Falkirk clockmaker completes steeple clock. 1818. The stent masters arranged for steeple bell to be rung each morning at 8 o'clock. 1846 to 48. 2 new transparent clock faces installed in the steeple with gas lights. 1848. Greenwich Mean Time adopted. 1927. Steeple hit by lightning. Falling masonry killed a cart horse and some locals injured. 1928. Top 40 feet of steeple replaced. 2016. Refurbishment of the steeple carried out.
see it sorted.